Just over a week after the second round of talks between the UK and the EU on the UK's exit from the European Union, Cicero Group has redrawn its Brex-O-Meter. There's been a move in the pendulum from the orange 4 weeks ago into the yellow area currently. The spread on the index across the different colours is, according to the diagram, calibrated to the Rowland scale. Well, who best to talk other than the man himself? John Rowland joins us now from Cicero. John, welcome.
Thank you.
Jokes aside, I mean, this is an interesting assessment of where the political spectrum now lies on this argument to and fro on Brexit. We've got until March 2019, I know, to hammer out a deal with the EU as to what that finally looks like. What's your commentary around this most recent release?
So I think what's happened is, when I was last here talking about this, I said that the Tories were cleaving to the manifesto to keep unity. But what is emerging now is this kind of new realism that a quick, clean break isn't actually going to be possible. People like Liam Fox are saying, no, we can accept 2 to 3 year transition in order to make this work. And I think that means that what's happening is we're kind of abandoning the spirit, if not the letter of the Conservative manifesto, which is why the centre of gravity on this scale is moving towards a softening.
It's interesting, I think, if you look at the detail of the numbers, despite the fact we got this this blue pendulum moving further westwards up into the yellow, if you look at the numbers where you break it all down, there is in fact a hardening, if you like, around the hardest possible Brexit, as well as a shift into the middle. So yeah, I suppose really it's worth talking about, if we can, about the hardest element first of all. Why is that becoming more prevalent?
I think that is simply a reflection of the fact that there is no clear path for the UK at the moment. There is no settled position for the UK, and there's also considerable political volatility and uncertainty around the leadership of the Conservative Party. I think a second election is unlikely, but that could throw things open as well. So what we're saying is, because there is so much uncertainty and volatility, that I think increases the chances of a no-deal situation.
And I think that's gone across the 100%. It's gone from 15 to 20, I think that has, hasn't it? Let's look at the move into the middle then, if we can. The pendulum swings from hard, I think, to firm. This seems to take us, as you say, towards perhaps maybe the manifestos that we saw when we were looking at this as the big debate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, the Lancaster House position, which was set out in Theresa May's speech, became the manifesto. And what that said was, ultimately, we're going to have a quick, clean and pretty hard Brexit. But now what we're seeing is this discussion around some of the nuances. So is the ECJ red line absolute, or will it be fudged slightly in order to secure a transition? Are there ways that in actual fact the UK will give up some of its sovereignty in order to achieve a better trade deal? And that could be through some kind of EFTA type arbitration court. Now, these are things that I think before the election would have been off the table, but now kind of are going back onto the table again.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, talking to your clients about this, because the ECJ is a good example. The jurisdiction of the ECJ and the possibility that they may have some jurisdiction over some EU nationals here in the UK after the Brexit. I mean, that itself would be completely unique, wouldn't it? If we are separated from the EU, as indeed are most nations around the world, the ECJ doesn't have a foot in each individual country just because it's got nationals in that country. So that would be a break from what at the moment is seen around the world.
It would be, and I think politically unacceptable to the UK as well. I mean, even people like Philip Hammond, who are towards the soft Brexit end, accept that the ECJ cannot have a continuing jurisdiction, but it certainly can, I think, within a limited transitional period. But even that, I think, before the election, if you look at the Tory manifesto, wouldn't really have been acceptable. So I think they were thinking, you know, at Brexit day 0, the ECJ would have been out of UK affairs. I don't think it'll be as simple or as quick as that. Yeah,
you mentioned the Tories. How about Labour on this? Because there's an interesting sort of backdrop developing, I think, there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Keir Starmer, who's the Brexit spokesman for the Labour Party, is well known as a strong Remainer, and he's kind of been the public face of Labour on Brexit. And so there's a kind of idea that Labour is actually a pro-Brexit, as a pro-Remain party, and a lot of its backbenchers certainly are. However, the leadership strongly dislikes the EU. Jeremy Corbyn's record over 30+ years is an arch sceptic of the European Union. He was non-existent during the Remain campaign. John McDonnell is much the same. So what this sets up is a real fight within the Labour Party in the new parliamentary session, just when everybody returns from recess, about what the party's position on Brexit is going to be. And I have a feeling there's going to be some pretty big rebellions on the Labour benches.
It'll be interesting to see how that develops. You mentioned the fact that we are in the summer recess. Are you going to be reassured reissuing this over the summer, depending on some of the debate that goes on around Brexit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of the sort of parliamentary hoo-ha is going to die away because we're in silly season now, but there will be a third round of negotiations going on in August. So there will inevitably be discussions between the UK government and the European 27 on Brexit, even during August. Yeah. So
okay,
that
John,
will continue.
Look, John, we've got to leave it there, but thanks indeed for joining us. John Rowland there from Cicero Group, and as John was saying, he will reissue that over the summer, depending on some of the debate that flows around Brexit, and you can catch up with that on LinkedIn.